Welcome to the regular meeting of the Pascagoula City Council. Today is December 6, 2022. The time is now 6 p.m. Thank you to those who are in attendance in council chambers here at City Hall, as well as those viewing online. We're happy to have you join us. Tonight, the invocation will be given by Jeff Angles, and Councilman Gatchell will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Jeff Angles. Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you for this day, for all the blessings of this day, for the abundance of our lives. We thank you for these concerned citizens joining here tonight. We thank you for the dedicated members of the council here to be about the work of the city, which is also your work. Lord, we pray for your guidance and direction and the peace in our world. And we ask that you watch over each of those here every day and bless the families represented here. In Christ's name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Gentlemen, you have before you the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir, Mayor Willis. I would like to make one amendment to the executive session to add a potential litigation item.
Thank you, Mr. Silverman. Any other amendments? To approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Next, we have our community recognition section. At this time, we would like to recognize any members of the Mayor's Youth Council that are here tonight. Would you please stand? Welcome. Thank you for being here. Next, we have proclamations honoring 3 of the Pascagoula Youth Football Championship teams. We have proclamations for each of the teams. Come on in, gentlemen.
Yes, this is 5 and 6 flag.
The Saints.
Falcons.
We have a proclamation for these outstanding young men. Whereas the Jackson County Youth Football Association Super Bowl was held Sunday, November 20th, 2022 at Pascagoula High School. And whereas the head coach of the Pascagoula Falcons was Andrew Marshall, and whereas the assistant coach was Derek Sherrod, and whereas the players were my grandson, Sam Ashbaker, Casey Bilbo, Jaden Chapman, Amos Fountain, Andrew Marshall Jr., Amari Mitchell, DeCarlo Sherrod, and Bryson Williams. And whereas the Pascagoula Falcons won the 5-6 flag football Super Bowl championship against the Pascagoula 49ers by a score of 30-6. And whereas in addition to winning the championship, the Pascagoula Falcons had an undefeated regular and postseason with an 8-0 record. Now, therefore, I, Jay Willis, Mayor of the City of Pascagoula, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby honor the Pascagoula Saints, coaches, and players for a job well done this season. In testimony whereof, we have affixed the seal of the City of Pascagoula to this proclamation on the 6th day of December, 2022. Join me in congratulating these fine young men.
All right, guys, hold up your certificates.
Great job, Sherrod.
1, 2, 3. Good job, guys. Which one's your grandson?
There's the middle. See, you got that hair too. Yeah, you got that hair. You got that hair.
Which team is this, Mike?
This is the 7-8 Saints.
Saints.
Who that?
Hey, guys. Congratulations. We have a proclamation for the Saints. Whereas the Jackson County Youth Football Association Super Bowl was held Sunday, November 20th, 2022 at Pascagoula High School. And whereas the head coach of the Pascagoula Saints was John Williamson and the assistant coach Jared Ladner. And whereas the players were Jack Arnold, Oliver Fuchs, Carberry Hughes, Jack Lansadale, Drake Lansadale, Bennett Switzer, and Kedrick Taylor. And whereas the Pascagoula Saints won the 7-8 flag football Super Bowl championship against the Pascagoula Colts by a score of 32-8. And whereas in addition to winning the championship, the Pascagoula Saints had a magnificent regular season and concluded the season with a record of 7-1. Now, therefore, I, Jay Willis, Mayor of the City of Pascagoula, Mississippi, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby honor the Pascagoula Saints, coaches, and players for a job well done this season. Join me in congratulating these fine young men.
One, two, three.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Come on in up front.
They have a team, don't I know? Some big kid. What age group is this? What age group is this?
We have a proclamation honoring the Pascagoula Panthers flag football team, tackle football team, 9 and 10 year team. Whereas the Jackson County Youth Football Association Super Bowl was held Sunday, November 20th, 2022 at Pascagoula High School. And whereas the head coach of the Pascagoula Panthers was Sky Hawkins, And whereas assistant coaches were George Cole, Mackenzie Strong, and Jeffrey Altman, and whereas the players were Stephen Aguilar, Hunter Cole, Leo Fairley IV, Darian Ferguson, Richard Flinall, Isaiah Flores, Rashawn Froese, Devion Froese, Landon Getz, Zaire Jackson, Chase McGee, Tyrell Mingo, Carson Molden, Dayton Moy, Larry Norwood, Jacob Norwood, Joshua Parker, Adrian Robinson, Darrell Seward Jr., Comrie Smith, Terrence Thomas, Brandon Waters, Brantley Waters, and Madden Wells. And whereas the Pascagoula Panthers won the 9-10 tackle football Super Bowl championship against Goche by a score of 18-7, now therefore I, Jay Willis, Mayor of the City of Pascagoula, Mississippi, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby honor the Pascagoula Panthers 9-10 tackle football Super Bowl champions for a job well done this season. Join me in congratulating this group of young men. We're glad y'all are here.
I'm familiar with the name of Hunter Cole. I'm trying to figure out which one is it. Zero my lesson.
Thanks again. We appreciate y'all coming. Congratulations. Well, that's a zoo with that.
Man, I'm telling you, man.
You bring them back in. That'd be fun.
I wonder why we're so full of the younger kids and there's so many of these. What's going on with that?
I don't know. But I tell you, that flag football is good for those young boys. They don't need to be doing tackle ball.
Man, no, man. One thing about tackle, you don't pick up a kid that has the potential to blow away, don't even play.
That's exactly right.
People ought to know by now. So kids don't stand a chance. The flag is what it is. It is what it is.
Michael, he wants to take one, Torrance wants to take one more picture.
Yeah, they are changing the tiers, or it's just the top tiers.
To accommodate those huge.
There's some good boys. It's three of them, 3 of the 7. That's my daughter.
That's your dog. Okay, cool.
Parks and Recreation asked if we could take one more photograph with the 5 to 6 team. I think some coaches showed up a little late, so we're going to get one more photo. Sam, would you like to say a few words to the City Council meeting? Katarina, would you see if he's coming in? Yeah. They're coming.
Some of them guilty too, so they can take pictures. I got them. Championship.
Got it right, huh? Oh, heard that.
Wow.
See, they got the jury, huh?
I like 8 players.
Awesome.
Oh, boy, look at that.
Man, that's nice right there. Oh, yeah. They love playing for him.
We lost the rest of them.
Oh, lost the rest. Nice ring there just for pulling flags, right?
Congratulations again, fellas.
That's what you do when you get engaged. You lose that friend's cord.
Look at the camera, boys. Look at the camera.
This ain't work with the finger. This is y'all just hold your ring. Hold your ring. Hey. Hey. Hold your ring. Hold your ring. 3, 2, 1. All right, thanks.
Next, we have Address the Council section. The first item tonight is a presentation from Lori Massey with Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers. Ms. Massey, good evening.
Hi. Thank you all very much for having me here tonight. My name is Lori Massey from Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers. We cover 7 counties. I also serve on the advisory council for the state of Mississippi for Crime Stoppers, and I also serve as secretary for the national organization. You have in front of you the ordinance that was passed by the Mississippi legislatures that approved monies for the running of the Crime Stoppers program. How it is set up now in the city of Pascagoula, we receive $1 for every moving violation after the ticket is paid. So if one of your residents or any resident on the coast gets a ticket in in Pascagoula for a moving violation. After that ticket is paid, $1 goes back to the Crime Stopper program. We are asking for the $2, that is up to $2, that is allowed by law. Like I said, we cover 7 counties. We are a nonprofit, and we are a tool that residents can use to send anonymous information to police, to individuals who don't really want to call police directly because their number is shown or their call is recorded. They may have information about a neighbor selling drugs. They don't really want to call the police and tell them that. So we are the tool for them. So it goes direct, when we receive the information, it goes directly to Pascagoula PD. With the rising cost of everything, we are asking for this $2. We pay salary for one person. We have a call center, software, liability insurance, promotional items. We run on about $55,000 a year. That is our whole program. So everything we get, we beg, borrow, steal, write grants for. Currently, our big project we're working on now is called the Cold Case Playing Cards. I'm a member of the state's Cold Case Task Force for cold cases. And we received a grant to purchase playing cards, and Pascagoula will have a few cards with cases. It's homicide and missing cases. So inmates in prisons on the coast will be playing with decks of cards with these cases, and we're hoping that someone will see something and jog their memory, and one case will be solved or more than one case. We also have a community and crime fighting kiosk in your Pascagoula Walmart, where we post individuals who are wanted, people that are needing to be ID'd that are wanted, and we also partner up with other nonprofits for resources for your residents. This year we did an overdose video. It was paid for by 2 families who suffered losses of family members who had overdosed. And that video went statewide, asking people, basically asking families, do you know who is selling your loved one drugs? Please contact Crime Stoppers. Actually, I put that video out again this week, and we immediately received a tip about someone who their son had OD'd. He lived, but he OD'd last week. So that was pretty good. As you know, we have a big overdose issue on the coast. According to the CDC, from 2019 to 2020, Mississippi had the largest increase in overdoses of any state at 55%. And in 2020, 529 people died of drug overdoses in Mississippi. Like I said, our awareness video was paid for by 2 of those families. Over the past year, we have received, this is only drugs, 100 drug tips for Jackson County. We don't break it down because it goes to the MET team. Chris, you know that. So we don't break it down into Goche, Pascagoula, the SO. I am partial to Crime Stoppers, of course. I've worked with them for over 12 years. But I think we do, with our funding, I think we do a pretty darn good job. We are the most active Crime Stopper program in the state. Just today, Biloxi called me and said that we got an arrest for someone selling LSD and other drugs. So I'm here to ask for the $2 and would answer any of your questions that you may have.
Any questions of Ms. Massey?
Just out of curiosity, what percentage of those overdoses is like in the bottom 6 counties? Do you have any idea?
No, sir, I don't. But
Probably
I do
the
know
majority
that
of
we are the leading on the coast. We are the leading. We were just awarded a grant by Coast Electric. It doesn't impact, well, it doesn't directly impact Jackson County because Coast Electric does not serve Jackson County. We are purchasing billboards in Pearl River County and Hancock County to deal with drugs, and in Harrison County to deal with shootings.
That's good.
So, of course, we all know it bleeds over into the next county. So something that is in Pearl River County, they're selling in Jackson County too.
Absolutely.
And that 55% overdose is from what range time?
That was 2019 to 2020.
Well, I just want to tell you, I'm familiar with the organization. I do appreciate what y'all do.
Thank you.
We all do.
Thank you.
Chief Chapman, can you give us an insight as to how this organization assists Pascagoula Police Department?
Yes, as you know, anytime we have a shooting or a wanted person, we give it to Ms. Massey, and her organization puts it out there, and they even offer rewards for people that call in good information, so it helps a lot.
Just on Friday, his sergeant contacted us to give us about 8 people who are wanted on different crimes. There's one girl that is wanted for felony shoplifting. She lives in Gulfport, but she's wanted by Pascagoula and Waveland. Her post was a normal post. Do you know where she's located? She's wanted for felony shoplifting. It's already reached 1 million people, which is, if you're a Facebook person, you know that's a lot. Not sure why, but it has. She's not been arrested yet, but we're waiting on that.
You're going to get her.
We hope. She will be eventually caught. Yes, she will be.
Wow.
Thank you, Ms.
The money comes from the tickets that are paid, right?
Correct.
Do you know how would it affect y'all's department if we did give them the dollar?
If we didn't give them,
If we did give them the extra dollar?
oh, it'd just be another tool we'll use.
It's added to the price of the ticket.
Yes, it wouldn't
Okay.
affect us at all.
You're not going to
That's
lose
what I want.
money doing this.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't think you have citizens, beating down the door because tickets cost extra dollars. But I think it would be greatly used in a real good way.
Okay.
We rely on them a lot. They do a good job. And, the tips that come in from them, if they're good tips, people, they call them because they don't make a little money, So they normally call them. They trust them a little bit more than they trust us.
Anything else from the council? Ms. Massey will take this under
Thank you.
advisement. And
If you need anything, you
Interaction.
just email me. They have my.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you very
coming
much.
this evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The next item tonight is a request from Patrick Merrill. Mr. Merrill? There's Patrick.
Still working on the process of doing our puppies in the park. Remember, I came to y'all about 3 months ago asking for permission, and I think since then y'all did change the laws where you can have puppies in the park, animals in the park, or dogs in the park during certain events at the beach park. So I'm asking for my event again on March the 25th, which I'm trying to do a fundraiser for the animal shelter in Jackson County, which we're doing food trucks, just carnival type, just getting people out. And there's really nothing going on in March anyway, so it's a good time to do it. We get the cruising, some of the cars out there, and the food trucks. And like I said, the only thing that's been holding us back is the date. We need a date that we can say, okay, we've got our date. Now we can start reaching out to other people that want to help. So that's basically all we need is permission.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Merrill about puppies in the park?
To Mr. Merrill's point, the council did adopt an amendment to the ordinance, and just some of the key reminders, anytime somebody does want to bring animals to the park, they have to go before council. And when these events are held, there are some strict requirements that animals be controlled and maintained, and any dog leavings are picked up after.
Correct. Yeah, and I've asked, I think when I filled out all the paperwork with the Recs Department, I asked for extra sanitation for that. And, I mean, we'll clean up afterwards. So, I mean, all we're asking for is use of the park and
Very
permission. And we want to make this a yearly event. And like I said, a bunch of us sat down, we started looking at calendars, and really, there's not a whole lot going on. March, springtime coming up, people want to start to get out, working in their yards. It's a great time to do something.
Very good. Do we have a motion to approve the request to use Beach Park for puppies in the park in March?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you,
Awesome.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next, we have a public comment section. We're pleased to provide an opportunity at each meeting for comments by citizens, limited to 3 minutes of speaking time per speaker and no more than a total of 30 minutes. The public comment section of the agenda is not a question and answer session. The mayor, council, and administration officials will take all comments under advisement, may respond or take other potential action at a later time if warranted. Mr. Silverman, we have no one signed up
No one has signed.
for comments. Thank you. Next, we have 6 public hearings. Mr. Church, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. 3204 Brazil. This property goes back to 2012. It's 2020 twice, 21 twice, and here we are 22, going into 23, and we're right back at the same issues. The property does not get maintained. You get high grass, weeds, trash. You'll find tires on it. It's just been a constant issue of making him keep it clean. We're asking for a resolution to clean the property, remove all the trash and debris, because he's apparently not wanting to do it. You see there's a driveway still here. There's a partial fence. If we're gonna clean it, we wanna clean the entire property, get it down to the grass and
Remove the fence.
remove the fence. More than likely, we need to remove part of that concrete and that driveway there. Just get it out of the way and be done with it. Do we know who this belongs to? Property belongs to Raul Damien. We've had him in here before with the old M&M Bank.
Josh, is that lot to the, I guess, the right side, is that wooded or what's? There was a
Um,
lot of- on that
to go
fence line
back.
right there.
No,
No.
it's just, that's how bad it's grown up in the back. I mean, there's some trees there, no, we don't want to move, we want to clean it out, because there's houses on both sides of this.
Is that property, on the back side of it, I guess you would say west of it, is that Snook that runs right on the back side of it, or? just
Right
out of
behind it it goes into Glacier.
curiosity? Okay.
So have you made contact with him? We've had contact with him multiple times. We've sent him letters, we've reached out, and he will not respond.
Do you know who's been cutting the grass? Because it was like it's been cut fairly recent.
I'm not sure who he had cut it. It's this property, and there's a couple others. It's kind of like the M&M Bank. We have to stay on him. They'll do a little bit, and in a couple of months, we're right back doing it again, sending letters. He's not staying consistent with taking care of the properties. We've never had to go in and do it. We've always got him to finally take care of it, but it's getting to the point to where this needs to be taken care of. The neighbors are not real happy with him or us right now.
Is there anyone present to speak for or against this property? Is there a motion to declare 3204 Brazil Street a menace to public health, safety, and welfare?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. So, Mr. Church, this property will be cleaned, and then will it be cleaned again if necessary? Will this,
Under 21-1911, we can clean it for 2 years.
for 2 years?
For 2 years.
Right.
And assess the cost and the penalties to the taxes.
And is the owner paying the taxes at
Yes,
this point?
yeah, as far as we can tell, they're paying the taxes.
And there's a 25% penalty added to our cost,
Yes.
to the cost of cleaning the property. Thank
Yes.
you. Any other questions? Next property, Mr. Church.
Next property is 2003 Chico. This property belongs to Mr. Green. This is not the exact corner of Ingalls and Chico. You may remember the old metal building that was at one time a bar, then it was gonna be a donut shop. Mr. Green has been working on it. He has cleaned it. He has got a permit to finish the job. So what we're asking for tonight on this property is to give us a resolution, but be able to work with him to get this property finished. There's a large, a little slow there. You see the building. Structurally, the building is fine. It's just ugly. There's all the concrete around through there. He did clean up the rear. They removed some trees and trash and debris from the homeless that were living in the woods behind it. The back to the far back side of it there along the drainage ditch, some of that still needs to be cut and cleaned out, but he has made some progress recently on it. He is permitted to get this building in shape, get a facade on it, get it cleaned up. So we're gonna ask for resolution so we don't have to come back if something happens.
Now, at one time, wasn't there a lot of trash behind this building? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there was
Yeah.
a lot there
Yeah.
at one time, right?
Yeah, we stayed on the homeless. If you remember around the corner on 24th Street, we tore a house down there. And the guy that was living in that house, I don't know how, the guy that was living in that house moved over to Charlie's building and was living in the oak tree behind it, behind the air conditioner. And then he invited all his buddies. This is what it looks like right now. I mean, the grass has been cut. Go ahead, Matt.
What's the proposed use for this, Charlie?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah,
And I'll leave.
no.
Charlie, what you plan on using the building for?
They're good.
Hello, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, what do you plan on using the building for? What is
I'm
it?
not planning on using it, I'm trying to sell the property, I have, if y'all tear the building down, I'll tear it down my own self, you know, I mean, if that's what's gotta be done, I think it's usable. Ms. Cribbs that owns the very corner beside me here, and, Tim and I had worked on it, trying to sell it together. Now, I purchased this property about 18 months ago, so I've come in kinda late, and the homeless have been a super problem. When that house either was tore down or burned down around the corner, I inherited a group of about 8 or 9 gentlemen. I cleaned it up about 3 times, about the tune of about 20 contractor bags of beer bottles, plastic stuff. They hauled up a couch and a chair and set up. And police department's very nice, but they don't have the tools to deal with any of this. I go say, look, I'm gonna have you boys arrested. They say, oh, it don't matter, hell, I'll be back out here before you get here, you know? Yeah, I got arrested last week,
Wow.
you know? I'm gonna be here till my check comes in, and, you know, and I mean, it's kind of a joke, and it was a problem. Furthermore, in an attempt to clean it up, I go get a permit to burn. There's nothing to burn there, it's got a concrete all the way, half of the property is concrete. I go get a permit to burn, do what I'm supposed to do. I get ready to burn, I light it, the other fire department comes in, boat puts out. So you can't burn here. So what am I gonna do? You know, on the one hand, I get problems on this. Now, I spent $8,000 of my money with Big Wayne at A1 Tree Service to clean every one of those trees and brush out, grind the stumps, get everything done, that's out of my pocket. That took care of the homeless problem, because they didn't have any place left to shelter, tie their plastic and throw their junk on, so they moved. I also spent $600 to hire 2 people to come in and move everything out of that building. The ceiling was down and trash. We cleaned, swept, everything. There's nothing in that building anymore. I had an electrician look at it, he says it's in perfect shape, it was all rewired right before the storm, and made it vacant when it was bought. Air conditioning's almost brand new, I mean, 16 years ago, but it ain't been used. So, it's got uses on it.
What size is the building?
I hired another $1,400 to cut the grass and get everything that you see done like it's done. But if I can't burn, I just don't think I can afford to haul that much grass and limbs and stuff off. I can't pay $8,000 every time to do it, so I don't know the solution to that.
Charlie, what size is that building?
That building's 1,250 square feet. And it has no use to me. The 18 months I've had it, now we're fixing to take out the front where the glass is broken. There's one piece of glass broken and one piece of door broken. We're gonna take that out. I'm gonna metal it up except for a regular door. I'm not gonna put a glass door back.
That small building on that very large piece of property, I would imagine, with it not there, the property would probably be worth more.
It wouldn't take an afternoon
to get rid of
that building down if someone was interested.
Would
I
you?
market it everywhere. So far, no interest.
But would you agree that that's an eyesore for that South Chico Street area
Well,
that might need to disappear?
400 of them in Pascagoula.
Oh, you're exactly right.
That's
That's right.
I can give you a personal list that, a lot longer than what I see on this page here. Because I've been doing this for 52 years, as you know, Jay.
Right.
I have worked with the city on many properties, and I will take care of that building. It'll be cleaned up, it'll be painted, or it'll be torn down. I don't have a preference. I don't anticipate someone using it, but I've had 100 people come to me try to rent it, but it ain't the right fit. I'd like to get some. I had worked with Tim. We had listed it together, the piece on the corner and all, tried to put it all together. It's about 1.9 acres total.
That's a nice
there.
piece of property.
I got all the legal problems. I have traffic surveys, traffic. We took care of the right-of-ways of the city. There were 3 parcels, now there's 1. We got all that done, the studies. Tim provided me with a NFA letter from the EPA on the gas tank that used to be there, so we cleaned to go there. And I talked to about 1 or 2 people a month on it, and I'm hoping something will hit.
Right.
You know.
So, but you're agreeable to removing that building?
Yes, sir.
If that's what we would prefer.
If it must be done, then
right.
Yeah. It's not an asset to me.
Well, I want you to know that we appreciate what you have done to this point in cleaning it up. I know you put some money and time and working into that, and we don't take that lightly. I think the next step, though, is probably going to be to get rid of that building. Is that the feeling of the council?
It's just such a marketable corner, man. That corner, that's like you said, almost 2 acres right there on the,
Yeah, it's a prime piece of property, I feel. The elevation, I also have an elevation certificate. It's about 3 foot under the elevation, so somebody has to build up where they build. When the city redone the Ingalls Avenue Road there, they rented that piece from the guy I was trying to sell it from for base
Lay down.
operate, and built it up some with the dirt that they removed. They just spread it there, so that alleviated some of that problem. If the city wants to buy it, it's a great place to use for something. So, at any rate, I'm willing to do anything, and Josh and them work with me good. I don't have any problems with that. I spend a lot of time out there. Angie runs the place. We try to keep it all up between her and me. We keep them straight. So I got no complaints with what y'all are trying to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any further questions of Mr. Green? No.
Just give me some time. I am working on it.
That's our intention.
And we will keep it cut to a perimeter around there. Now, I'll cut that other stuff if they let me burn that ground. Or if the city will haul it off, I'll pile it by the road if y'all will take it. You know, it's a lot of grass there, but I just can't afford to run that to the dump every time. I've tried to burn it twice, and twice they come put me out with the permit, so I don't know what to do.
I don't think I try burning it again until we get some answers on that, Charlie. Is there a motion to declare 2003 Chico Street a menace to public health, safety, and welfare and assess a penalty of 25% of the cost of cleaning?
Is that along with the time period?
90 days? What is it, Josh?
90 days, good. Give you 3 months to get going on it.
And I think the elephant in the room is the building.
I mean,
The building
you've got a
needs to come
permit on
down.
it. The permits are good for 6 months. I mean, if he's gonna rebuild the building, he's got 6 months to rebuild the building. But if we're gonna remove the building, the sooner the better.
Yeah, I don't wanna spend no money on, removing that stuff. If that's your intent, if that's what you're after, then I don't really have qualms with it, just as long as you reduce my taxes considerably. I don't pay but about $35,000 a year.
Well, I figure that building's worth probably about 100,000 of the total value of the land, don't you think?
Oh, well, they got me taxed for more than 100,000. So, that's the only piece of property I haven't paid my taxes on this year.
There you go.
So
So
got them all caught up this week except for that one.
do we have a motion and a second on this property?
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion, questions?
I just want to say I'm on that side of town a lot, and
I'm sorry?
I was just going to say I'm on that side of town a lot. I'm one of your neighbors across the street during the day.
Yeah, I know that your wife has the trophy business.
Yes, sir. And
Yeah.
and we've been watching, and you've done a wonderful job. So I just want to say thank you.
I have been working on it, and I've owned 2,000 properties in the county of Jackson over the years, and worked with Melvin Mitchell at this table for many years on every problem property you had. And they would call me out here at the city and say, Charlie, can you go by and look at that, see if you can buy that or do something with it? And I did. I've bought many a property here.
Yes, sir.
Built probably 100 houses in Pascagoula.
Yes,
4
sir.
or 5 commercial buildings over 52 years. So, and worked with Eddie Williams here. I haven't have anything to do with Michael yet at your office, but I'm very familiar with your office.
So we have
Any way I
a,
can help.
So
If y'all want that building moved, then I'd like to just get with Josh and let him know, and then I won't spend no money or effort on it. We'll just have it removed.
that sounds
Yes, sir.
good. So,
And I'm not fighting it. I
Right.
won't fight it.
and I appreciate your attitude about the whole thing. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Now, next property, Mr. Church. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate y'all coming.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next property is 3106 Louise Street. This property dates back 2016, 17, 18, until, all the way till now. We have worked with this owner on this property multiple times to get this building back in shape, open this store back up, or do something with it. The last time we done something with them, they came in, did some brickwork, glass and doors on the front, and that's where it ended. It's still a dilapidated building that's not secure. You can look through the window there, you can see the back doors ripped off of it. Growing up, that was our local convenience store, but it's been like this for quite some time. We have begged and pleaded for them to do something with it. They've made promises, and we've got nothing but some windows and a door out of it.
Now, do these people own another store on the other side of town?
They own many, many stores.
Okay.
Mr. Patel.
Is this property, are they even allowed to upgrade it, being the elevation and everything where it sits?
Depending on how far they go with it. I mean, it's a block structure, but recently the back side of the building from the canal is just washing away. The back side of the building is starting to crack. The slab's going to fall off into the canal if nothing's done with it.
So this property was on a street that was a main thoroughfare.
Yes, sir.
Until Biosite Parkway was
Yes, sir.
constructed. What was that, 15 years ago?
At least.
And since then, there's not a lot of traffic on Louise Street.
No, I mean.
That would necessitate having a
It would
convenience store.
pretty much service that neighborhood and those apartments right there in the area. It's kind of what it did in its heyday. I mean, it was,
But it's been vacant for almost 20 years.
yes, many, many years. And it's just steadily getting worse. I mean,
And the owner has not replied to any of your notices.
you know, we sent letters, we worked with them in 16, we tried working with them in 17. 18, another officer tried it, nothing. I mean, like I said, we got some brickwork and some glass in the front. And I'm really surprised that all the windows aren't completely busted out of it. It's just, it sits over there. People use the parking lot for a dump. They park their tractor trailer rigs there or equipment. It's just, it's an eyesore, and it's been there. And to tell you the truth, we're tired of trying to get them to do something with it.
Is this the
been 6
building,
years.
right next to a bridge?
Yes.
Next to Eaton Street?
It's
Yeah.
this is Louise Street. It's directly across from
Orchard.
Just south of Orchard.
Yeah, just south of Orchard.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just put a new bridge in. So.
Is there anyone present to speak for or against this property? Is there a motion to declare 3106 Louise Street a menace to public health, safety, and welfare, and to assess a penalty of 25% to the cost of cleaning?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Next property, 3216 Scoville.
Yes, sir. I have, there's two properties here on Scoville, both with the same owner. 3216, it dates back 2018. This is another one that if we continue to harass and call and send letters and beg and plead, they'll sooner or later get it cut. This time, they just will not cut it. These are the lots when you turn off of Eden on the Scoville. Across the street from where the old kinder care. There's large lots, large oak trees. There's two lots there.
Empty lots.
Yes, they're empty lots. It's that one there. It's heavily wooded with large trees, but it's open underneath. But the grass is over your waist. They do not live here. It's, I believe they're in California, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a problem. You know, we're trying to get the whole area cleaned up, stuff across the street cleaned up, and we cannot get this grass cut for nothing.
Is there anyone present to speak for or against this property? Is there a motion to declare 3216 Scoville Avenue a menace?
So moved.
Second.
Josh, we're not gonna go in and take out any trees on that. are we?
No, but this particular one does have the old house on it.
And the house has been vacant for?
The house has been vacant as long as I can remember. I think that was the original Scoville home. I don't see anything. We don't go into the back of the property, but it's an old house. I don't think there's anything much wrong with it. It's just nobody lives there. Our biggest concern is getting the property cleaned up, because the people who live behind it and people who live beside it
Deserve better.
deserve better. And you can ride by there at any time of the day, and if there's not raccoons, there's possums or whatever hanging out at the edge of the street. It's gotten bad, and nobody's here to take care of it.
Mayor, does that motion include or whoever made the motion, does that include a penalty of 25%?
Yes.
Yes.
Both lots are by the same owner?
Yeah, the next one's coming up, separate lot, but yes. it's the same.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. And the next one is the lot adjacent, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Go back. That's what it looks like right now. This one does not have an address. It's just a parcel number.
And it's adjacent to
It's
the
the
other?
adjacent lot, same
And it's the
owner.
same owner. Yeah.
You know, we used to address this as one problem. And somehow this thing has gotten broken into 2 lots, so last year was the beginning of this, sending letters for this separate lot.
Is there anyone present to speak for or against this property? Do we have a motion to declare Scoville Lot property number 402-301-32.000 a menace to public health, safety, welfare, and assess a penalty of 25% to the cost of cleaning?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Next one.
Our next one is 3525 Ingalls. This is the outer parcel from Mr. Green's there on the corner. Got the little small building out there on it. We understand Mr. Krebs has passed away. This property goes back to originally 2010, but 17, 19, 20, 22. The issue with this property is the building needs to be removed. It has always been a problem with people parking motorhomes and trucks and trailers and cars. It would turn into a parking lot in no time. Ms. Krebs is here to speak upon that. I know they were trying to get this estate handled. I'm gonna give her a second to speak.
All the vehicles and boats and that sort of thing that were there belong to Tim Krebs. They're all gone. The building is secure, no broken glass. It's just a little cinder block building on the corner that we hope somebody wants. But in the meantime, the estate is pending, and the property at this point, at some point, will belong to my 3 children, not to me. But we don't even have, it's not even in their names yet. So they don't actually have any authority to do anything. We removed all the vehicles. There was a boat and a truck there most recently. They're both gone. Had the yard guy come and weed eat around the little building, but it's not a vagrant problem.
Would you agree that that building's really ugly and a detraction from that corner?
I can point to things around it uglier.
Well, I understand.
It's not a mansion, that's for sure.
Right.
And the value is not in the building.
Sure.
It's in the land.
Exactly.
But right now, nobody has authority to tear the building down.
A source to tear it down?
Excuse me?
No one has what?
Nobody has authority.
Authority? Well,
Yeah.
the city of Pascagoula does.
The owner is deceased.
Sure.
Well, the city of Pascagoula.
Right.
But I mean, Tim
In the
died
family.
June,
I understand. Tim and I were friends growing up many years
Well,
ago.
then you know.
Oh, yeah.
We started with a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah.
And we are getting it down.
Yep.
And we'd like some time to see if Charlie could generate a sale, or at least until the children are the titled owners and could sign a contract.
Mr. Church, what's your feeling about an extension here as opposed to going ahead and removing that building?
I'm perfectly fine giving an extension if y'all are. You know, it's that entire corner with their property and Charlie's property, with those buildings gone, could be very attractive to somebody, especially with the things that we're trying to do in that area down Chico and Ingalls.
And I believe it would be more attractive without the building.
Yeah, I mean,
you feel that way?
Removing the buildings and the concrete would make it more attractive. You got a clean slate to build on.
Right.
I do understand that they don't have the authority themselves to tear it down. You know, if we want to give them a little time, like we've done Charlie, and then do it all at the same time if we can't.
Well, I think if we gave Charlie some time, I think it'd only be fair to give them time. I do agree probably would look better if both buildings were removed, but in all fairness, if we gave Charlie some time, I think we need to just give him
Charlie's
a
alive.
Ma'am?
And Charlie's alive.
But I'll agree, it's been something for a long time that's probably need to be cleaned up.
Yeah, you know, we had spoke with Tim on it many a times. He would clean it up some. There were multiple people tried to move into it, but it's,
It looks better now than it has in a long
Yes.
time, and we appreciate that.
We did that
for
as
sure.
soon as, well, and
Absolutely,
we had it down to a boat and a truck
right,
when the notice went out, and they're gone.
right.
So,
So is there a motion to declare 3525 Ingles Avenue a menace to public health, safety, and welfare, and assess a penalty of 25% to the cost of cleaning and giving a period of time? Michael Moore, what did we allow Mr. Green? 90 days, 30 days?
90 days.
90 days.
Discussion.
And allow 90 days to get that done before we
and
remove the
if the
building.
estate, if the property, I mean, shouldn't you give the kids a chance to take it down? If they don't, if Heidi Sheffield and David McCormick don't do their deal in 90 days, estates can drag on. They should, I mean, shouldn't they at least have possession before you guys charge them an extra 25%?
That was gonna be my question, the timeline on figuring out the estate.
The court, whoever the administrator or executor is, could obtain approval from the court to use the proceeds of the estate to pay for to clean the property.
Well, yeah, but
Without the 25% penalty if they
Yeah, if they went
decide
ahead
to
and
do
did it
that.
now before the 90 days ran up.
I'm just saying, is 90 days enough to get all that paperwork done?
The estate's been open for quite a while. Tim passed away in the spring, is that right?
No, he passed away in mid-June.
June.
The 90 days, the kids were just adjudicated heirs in October, and they're working now on different issues involved with that.
Well, we want to do the right thing by the estate, for sure. And if there is a way that the 25% penalty could be avoided if the estate went ahead and did that now with the permission of the court, then I think that would be the direction that I would take if I were the heirs to approach the attorneys.
And you don't think 6 months would be allowable?
I don't think that we would want that to
Yeah, 6 months is kind of, can we work with Josh and make sure, like, you know, we're getting close to the 90 days?
when we get to the
figure
90
this out?
days, I mean, we can revisit and see where they're at. I mean, if
Yeah,
they're
that's the point
right
of
there
90
fixing
days.
to sign it,
Another thing is, this is about a 20 by 20, you're talking about 400 square feet, I think. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not a
It's-
very big building, its expense shouldn't be very
Yeah.
high.
But I just wanted to keep that in mind, the paperwork of it and that aspect. As long as we stay tight with Josh and y'all make sure that doesn't.
So do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
And so what is our mandate?
You need to be talking to the attorneys and estate judges. Is that correct, Michael?
Yeah, they'll be aware, since there's a state open, I'll find the notice of intent to abate. That has a copy of the council's resolution, so
And you'll send that to,
it'll be filed with MEC, so all the attorneys will see it.
you'll file it in the estate?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Next, we have the consent agenda. Does any member of the council have any questions about the consent agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion passes. Next, we have city manager's agenda items. Mr. Silverman.
Yes, sir, Mayor Willis. The city council approved submitting 6 infrastructure projects to the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality as part of the recent ARPA funds that the state received from the federal government. These funds were specific to support water and sewer infrastructure projects. We were very fortunate in the first round of funding to receive funding for 3 projects that we submitted for, one being the East Lawn and Pinecrest Waterline Improvements Project, the next one being the South River Road Lift Station and Force Main Replacements Project, and the last one being the Water Main Crossing Highway 90 and Hospital Road. The way the project is set up is the city is providing a portion of ARPA funding that we directly receive from the federal government. In addition, Jackson County is going to be providing a match as well, since the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality did award funding for these 3 projects. As part of the next steps, we need to submit a request for proposals for professional engineering services. We've already approved professional engineering services for the East Lawn and Pinecrest Waterline Improvements Project, but for the South River Road and Water Main Crossing Project, we do need to seek professional engineering services. And the reason being, these are going to be federally funded projects, so we need to adhere to all the procurement requirements. So what is being requested is just approving the advertisement for professional engineering services for these 2 projects.
Very good. Do we have a motion to adopt a resolution approving advertisement for requests for qualifications for MCWI-funded infrastructure projects?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Next.
The next item, the Jackson County Board of Supervisors recently approved $25,000 worth of funding to support Moss Point and its Main Street efforts. What is being requested tonight is that council approve a request for $25,000 in funding to also potentially go towards Pascagoula Main Street to support them in their economic development projects. Main Street has been doing a lot of positive things for the community in terms of hosting great events, pursuing studies similar to the streetscape and parking study that was presented to you at the last council meeting. So we figured it would only be appropriate to request $25,000 as well to support Main Street and its continued efforts to revitalize our downtown.
Do we have a motion to adopt a resolution requesting funding assistance from Jackson County Board of Supervisors for Main Street economic development projects?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We really appreciate Jackson County wanting to help us with our efforts to move forward in that area and hope they will find this request favorably. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion passes. Next one, Mr. Silverman.
Yes, the applicant before us tonight is Travis Etzelroth and Shauna Etzelroth. They are seeking a residential tax abatement for preliminary approval at this time. The Etzelroths recently purchased a new home built by Brandon Busby at 1427 Manto Street. The cost of the home was $208,460. The project meets all required criteria underneath the residential renewal and renovation district. So we are requesting approval for preliminary tax abatement for 5 years at 75% of the value of improvements for the property.
Do we have a motion to adopt a resolution approving residential tax exemption for 1427 Manto Street?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
We have another preliminary approval request for a residential tax abatement. This time it is at 3014 Dock Street. This is for one of the new townhomes that was constructed by Brandon Elliott. The property at 3014 Dock Street is $300,000 and it falls within the urban renewal district, so it meets all the criteria. What is being requested is preliminary approval for tonight.
Do we have a motion to adopt a resolution providing preliminary approval for residential tax abatement from James Kidd?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. And another one.
The next item is a resolution seeking approval to transfer funds within Task Order 1F as part of the Ingalls Avenue Road Improvements Project. Since the project has experienced some delays, there is still a need for an RPR on site to monitor the construction and monitor the progress of the project. What is being requested as part of Task Order 1F funding transfer is for item F, which is environmental services, to have $25,565.40 transferred to the resident project representative services, which would make the total for that item 2 being $75,565.40.
Do we have a motion to adopt a resolution approving Ingalls Avenue roadway improvements request to transfer funds within task order 1F?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. McClellan is here this evening. If you have any questions of the engineer.
Yeah, can we get Mr. McClellan to come give us an update on the project?
Sorry?
Could you give us an update on the project, please?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Follow up the chair. Yeah, so where he is now, he is beginning to rebuild the sub-base of the road east of Market Street, and he is going to finish up, he should finish up with that this week, and then he'll move over to the west side. He's waiting for Centerpoint to finish rerouting the gas. So he's working on the east side. Hopefully they will finish up this week and cut off that old gas line so he can jump over to the west side and finish the storm drainage and then build the road on that side. And then once he's got both sides done, he'll come into the middle to build it. And he plans to do that at night because of the traffic, in Market. He can, tearing up the rest of the road and then putting down the sand and rock, he can do that in just like a couple of nights. He's scheduling his the sewer subcontractor to line the sewers now that Unity has cut the line off so that we can cut it out of there. And he has got his concrete subcontractors and his paving subcontractors. So we are looking now at substantial completion about the middle of February.
All right. Thanks.
And the traffic signal is about ready to be turned on at DeSoto and Ingalls.
That's good.
So,
Any further questions? Do we have a motion to adopt? We have a motion and a second. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. And the next item, Mr. Silverman.
The last item,
Excuse me, I need to step up for this.
Yeah, there too.
The last item is a final approval for a residential tax abatement request for William Moore at 3002 Dock Street. This is a new townhome that was recently constructed for $299,999. This does meet all the required criteria, and we are requesting final approval for Mr. Moore.
Do we have a motion to adopt a resolution providing final residential tax abatement approval for William Moore at 3002 Dock Street? Do we have a motion and a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. And if we can get Mr. Moore back in here for the city attorney items.
I have one item tonight. It's a consideration of an ordinance. Back in March, I believe, the council adopted some new regulations as it pertains to Macapilia Cemetery, one of which was to prohibit coping, which has caused some maintenance issues and also issues with people installing it in the wrong place. There was at least one individual who had, before that ordinance was adopted, had purchased some pretty expensive coping due to supply chain issues like everywhere else. The coping did not get delivered until, or completed until recently, and so they ended up with this coping where under our existing ordinance they would not be allowed to install it. So what's proposed here is an amendment to that ordinance that would create a grace period where someone could document that they had purchased coping prior to the effective date of that prior ordinance. Then the council could allow them, or actually the city manager could allow them to install coping. So that is the ordinance before you would allow individuals who have purchased coping prior to March to install that coping.
Do we have a motion to adopt an ordinance amending Macpigla Cemetery rules?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I think under the circumstances, this is the right thing to do. These folks did not know that the feeling was going to be that copings would no longer be allowed. I think going forward, this would be the only one that's going to happen out there. Is that correct?
I would say that's correct unless somebody else
Shows up
with documentation showing that they purchased something
right
within a time frame. So.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion passes. Next is the docket of claims. Do we have a motion to approve the docket of claims?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Next, we have mayor council items. Are there anything anyone would like to bring up at this point in the meeting? Hearing none. Next is executive session. Do we have a motion to go into closed session to determine if there is a need for executive session?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, everyone. That concludes the public portion of our agenda this evening. There was no action taken in executive session tonight. Do we have a motion to amend the agenda to add consideration of a resolution retaining an appraiser to assist with potential acquisition of real property?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Do we have a motion to adopt a resolution retaining an appraiser to assist with the potential acquisition of real property?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion passes. Do we have a motion to recess until December 20th at 6 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. We are in recess. Thank you, gentlemen.